This troll made John Bauer famous. Huge, silent, moss-covered, almost part of the forest. Sweden loved him for creatures like this. Bauer did not. By his 30s, he was tired of being the man who drew trolls. He wanted to become something else. Then, in November 1918, he boarded the steamboat Per Brahe with his wife, Esther, their 3-year-old son, and the belongings of the life he was trying to change. A storm hit Lake Vättern. The boat went down. John died. Esther died. The little boy died too. Sweden mourned the troll painter, but what sank with him was not only a family, it was the artist he was trying to become. To understand the trap, you have to understand the trolls. Every Christmas, Swedish families opened a small fairy tale annual called Bland Tom Tarok Troll, Among Gnomes and Trolls. For children, Bauer's illustrations were not just pictures in a book. They looked like proof that the forest had been watching all along. His trolls were huge, slow and impossibly old. They were stone-faced, heavy-jawed, covered in moss like the forest had grown them out of a rock. And beside them, Bauer placed children, small girls in white, princesses who looked as if they had wandered too far from home. And then there was Princess Tufsta, a small girl beside dark water, staring at her own reflection as if the forest had taken something from her and hidden it underneath the surface. She's not screaming or running. That's what makes her so unsettling, or beautiful. Bauer understood that fairy tales are often quietest at the moment something's already been lost. That was the spell, something ancient, something delicate, and a silence between them that made you wait for what happened next. Sweden loved it. By his early 30s, Bauer was not just an illustrator, he was the man who had given Sweden its trolls. They appeared in books, magazines, nurseries, and Christmas memories. A whole generation grew up with his creatures in their heads. But while Sweden kept asking for more, Bauer was starting to feel the walls closing in. The forest had made him famous. Now, it would not let him leave. It is hard to see a trap when everyone else calls it success. Bauer was making money. Publishers wanted him. Children loved him. Sweden wanted more trolls. The same forest, the same small figures in white, the same huge creatures watching from the moss. He had made a world so convincing that no one wanted him to leave it. So he began slipping out quietly. A nude figure, a self-portrait, strange drawings with no trolls in them at all, Sami portraits from his journey north, painted with a seriousness no one expected from the fairy tale illustrator. A Madonna. This was the other Bauer, not the one Sweden has bought, not the one Christmas wanted, the one trying to get out. But every time he moved away, the trolls pulled him back. They paid the bills. They filled the books. They carried his name further than anything else he had made. And that was the cruelty of it. The work that freed his imagination had become the thing holding it shut. By his 30s, Bauer could see another painter waiting underneath. But Sweden still wanted the forest, and the forest still wanted him. The other Bauer did not appear from nowhere. He had been building towards him for years. Beside him was Esther Elkvist. She was not just a wife in the story, she was an artist too. They had met as students at the Royal Academy in Stockholm before the troll swallowed his name. But history mostly kept her as wife, muse, mother, passenger. Esther knew what it meant to want more than the role people had given you, and in 1908 she and Bauer went to Italy. There, the forest loosened its grip. Bauer stood in front of Renaissance frescoes and saw another kind of power. Gold ground, stillness, faces that carried weight without explaining themselves. When he came back, the troll painter was still there. The publisher still wanted him, Christmas still wanted him, Sweden still wanted the forest, but something else had opened. a slower Bauer, a stranger Bauer, a painter trying to step out from behind his own fame. Then their son Bengt was born. Now there were 3 of them, and the plan became practical. Leave Jönköping, move to Stockholm. Build a life where Bauer could paint what he actually wanted to paint, in the city where serious painters were taken seriously. By the autumn of 1918, that life was close enough to touch. The studio and the future were waiting. All they had to do was cross the lake. There was a train. There was always a train. But the month before, a passenger train near Norrköping had crashed and killed 42 people. Bauer had read the news. He decided the boat was safer. So, on the night of the 19th of November 1918, John Bauer, Esther, and their 3-year-old son Bengt boarded the Per Brahe. The lake was long, dark, and deep, and a late autumn storm was moving across it. The boat was carrying too much: sewing machines, stoves, cargo piled on deck because there was no room below. In the early hours of the morning, the wind shifted everything that was loose. The boat went over. John died, Esther died, the little boy died too. Everyone on board died. When the news reached Stockholm, Sweden mourned the troll painter. The papers remembered the man who had given the country its fairy tale forest. And then came the cruelest part. The Christmas annual was already at the printers. It came out as planned. That December, Bauer's trolls still entered Swedish homes. Huge, silent, moss-covered, smiling from the pages as if nothing had happened. But the man who drew them had been trying to leave them behind, and now he never would. A century later, John Bauer is one of the most loved illustrators Sweden has ever produced. His trolls are on stamps, in museums, in children's books, and in the country's imagination. Land Tomtar och Troll is still being printed. The forest he drew became a kind of national memory. And that is the strange thing about being trapped by your own gift. It does not stop when you do. The other Bauer, the slower, stranger painter trying to step out of the forest, is harder to see. Not gone, but quieter. Even the stranger late work feels oddly innocent. Bare figures, quiet faces, bodies treated less like spectacle than folklore. Much of it sits unseen in museum collections, studies and footnotes. Sweden kept the forest, it kept the creatures, it kept the childhood spell. But Bauer was trying to become more than the man who made it. I've spent a long time looking at Bauer's trolls now, and the thing I cannot shake is how gentle the trap looks. Huge creatures, small children, soft moss, a beautiful forest, and a man inside it trying to leave. The tragedy of John Bauer is not only that he died at 36, it is he died just as he was reaching for the artist he may have become. If Bauer was trapped by the work that made him famous, Harry Clarke was trapped by something colder. A masterpiece his own country refused to show. His name was Harry Clarke, and his story is what happens when the trap is built by the state.